Doctor. Ayesha had always been known for her quiet strength. In the bustling corridors of City General Hospital, where the sound of rushing footsteps and distant monitors blended into a constant hum, she walked with a calm grace that made people trust her instantly. Her patients adored her for her soft voice and gentle hands, but very few knew the weight she carried within. Her life had been a series of sacrifices, late nights, missed celebrations, empty apartments, and a heart that had forgotten how to be held. She believed love was something the universe had simply forgotten to give her. On a humid summer evening, when the ER was drowning in emergencies, Rania came rushing in. She was new, transferred from another hospital, and her reputation had arrived before she did. Brilliant, sharp, intimidating, and completely impossible to understand. But beauty followed her like a second shadow: deep eyes, confident walk, hair tied up carelessly yet perfectly, and a face that showed both fire and heartbreak. Their first meeting was nothing poetic. Rania almost bumped into Ayesha near the triage desk, breathless and irritated, holding 2 patient files. "Where do you keep the updated trauma charts?" Rania asked, her voice brisk. Ayesha pointed quietly toward the cabinet, her expression warm, and for a moment Rania paused. Not because she found the cabinet, but because she saw something soft in Ayesha's eyes that disarmed her. She muttered a quick thanks and walked away, but the moment stayed with her all night. Days turned into weeks, and slowly, their paths crossed more often than expected. They worked well together, almost as if they had been partners for years. Where Rania was sharp, Ayesha was calm. Where Ayesha hesitated, Rania stepped in with confidence. They balanced each other like the 2 steady hands of a surgeon. One night, during a particularly heavy shift, a young girl was brought in after a major accident. The situation was critical. The family sobbed outside the trauma room while Ayesha and Rania worked with flawless coordination. Hours passed. Their gloves grew bloody. Their backs ached. But they didn't give up. When the patient finally stabilized, both women stepped out, exhausted but relieved. Ayesha leaned against the wall, eyes closed, trying to catch her breath. Rania stood beside her, whispering, "You kept her alive." Ayesha opened her eyes slowly. "We did." Rania smiled faintly. "You're something else." It was the first real compliment Rania had offered, and Ayesha felt something warm unfold inside her. That night, after the shift ended, the hospital cafeteria was nearly empty. Ayesha sat with a cup of tea, staring out the window at the city lights. Rania walked in, hesitating at first, then took the seat across from her. "Do you always drink tea at 3 a.m.? Rania asked. Ayesha smiled. "Only when my heart is too tired to sleep." Rania looked at her, really looked, and her voice softened. "Mine has been tired for years. But I don't let it talk." "Maybe it needs someone to listen," Ayesha whispered. For the first time since joining the hospital, Rania let her guard down. She talked about her past, about a love she lost, about betrayal, about nights spent pretending she was strong when she was breaking inside. Ayesha didn't interrupt. She listened, quietly, as if holding Rania's story in her palms. Something shifted that night. Something gentle. Something brave. Over the next weeks, their connection deepened. Rania started looking for Ayesha during shifts, pretending she needed help with cases, though she rarely did. Ayesha found herself noticing the way Rania's eyes softened when she was with children, or the way she bit her lip when she was thinking too hard. Little things, but they meant everything. One rainy evening, the power flickered during rounds, and the hallway lights dimmed to emergency mode. The hospital felt strangely quiet, the air thick with the smell of wet soil from the storm outside. Ayesha and Rania found themselves alone near the ICU, reviewing charts. Rania broke the silence. "Do you ever think about leaving all this? The stress, the loneliness?" Ayesha looked at her calmly. "Loneliness doesn't come from being alone. It comes from not having the right person. And have you found that person?" Rania asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Ayesha's heart raced, but her voice remained steady. "Sometimes I think I have." Rania inhaled sharply, her eyes searching Ayesha's face for a hint, a sign, a confession. The silence between them felt fragile, trembling like a heartbeat waiting to be touched. But then a nurse rushed over with an update, breaking the moment. Days passed, and both women tried to pretend nothing had changed, but it had. Rania became gentler around Ayesha. Ayesha found courage she didn't know she possessed. Their feelings grew quietly, like flowers blooming in the dark. One weekend, Rania didn't come to work. Ayesha heard she had gone home early the previous night, looking distraught. Concern gnawed at her the entire day. By evening, she finally made a decision she would never have made before. She went to Rania's apartment. Rania opened the door, surprised, her eyes red from crying. "Ayesha, you shouldn't have come. You weren't okay," Ayesha said softly. "Let me be here." Rania stepped aside wordlessly. The room was dim, silent, heavy with unspoken pain. Rania sat on the couch, her hands trembling. "I hate feeling weak," she whispered. "You're not weak," Ayesha said gently. "You're human." Rania's voice cracked. "I can't lose someone again." Ayesha sat beside her, close enough that their shoulders touched. "I'm not here to hurt you." Rania looked into her eyes, and something inside her finally broke free. "Why do you care so much?" "Because I feel something for you," Ayesha said, her voice trembling for the first time. "Something I don't want to run from." Tears slipped down Rania's face as she leaned forward, resting her forehead against Ayesha's. "I feel it too," she whispered. "And it scares me." "It scares me too," Ayesha admitted, her hands gently holding Rania's. In that quiet living room, two hearts that had spent years in darkness found a small light, fragile but real. Their first kiss was soft, hesitant, filled with emotion instead of urgency. It felt like healing. It felt like home. After that night, they grew closer, not suddenly, but steadily, building trust like stitching a wound with patience and care. They still worked long shifts. They still faced emergencies. But now, there were small stolen moments, hands brushing during surgeries, knowing smiles across crowded hallways, late-night conversations that made time slow down. Love didn't fix everything, but it made the weight easier to carry. One evening, after finishing a difficult surgery together, Rania walked with Ayesha to the hospital rooftop. The city lights shimmered below them like fallen stars. The wind was cool, carrying the faint smell of rain. Rania took Ayesha's hand. "Do you ever wonder why life brings certain people together?" she asked. Ayesha squeezed her hand gently. "Maybe because we're meant to help each other heal." Rania rested her head on her shoulder. "You've healed more of me than I knew was broken. And you've given me a love I didn't know I deserved," Ayesha whispered. The night wrapped around them like a quiet blessing. Two women who had lived years in silence now stood together, hearts open, stronger because they had found each other. Their love wasn't loud or dramatic. It was soft, steady, and deeply real. A love that grew not through grand gestures but through quiet moments, shared burdens, and the courage to let someone in. And in the hospital where they saved countless lives, they had finally saved each other. Hey everyone, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. I'd really appreciate it and it would mean a lot to me. Thanks for watch.